Welcome back to Continental Aspire Soccer. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe and see more of our amazing content. We recently did an interview with the founder of Football Alanya, the popular Dutch football news page. It was a fantastic interview and it's one you can check out now on YouTube or Spotify. Today, we are looking at somewhat of a fallen giant in FC Schalke. Despite this club qualifying for the Champions League and Europa League 7 seasons in a row from 2010 to 2017, FC Schalke are currently 10 points off safety in the Bundesliga with less than half the season left at the time of writing. FC Schalke have fallen on hard times in recent years, seeing their best talent leave the club and the higher-ups failing to replace them adequately. But this should not have happened. Schalke are known across the world for their famous youth academy, the Nappenschmiede. Manuel Neuer, Julien Draxler, Leroy Sané, Mesut Ozil, Ilkay Gundogan, Joel Matip, Leon Goretzka and Thilo Kehrer are just a handful of some of the best players from the 2010s, all coming from the FC Schalke Academy. However, they have poorly sold these players, losing money year on year and shrinking the size of the club. Today, Continental Aspire Soccer will explore the Schalke Academy and how it has been failed in the past 10 years. FC Schalke are one of the most historic football clubs in Germany. They were founded 116 years ago in West Germany, and going into the 2010s, they were one of Europe's most feared teams. Despite not winning a Bundesliga title since 1958 and no UEFA Cup since 1997, Schalke were a young, dangerous side. They had just finished second in the Bundesliga for the 2009-10 season, with a team featuring a 23-year-old Manuel Neuer, a 22-year-old Ivan Rakitic and a 19-year-old Joel Matip. Rakitic joined Schalke in 2007 as a 19-year-old. Matip and Neuer spent a combined 27 years in the Schalke youth system. They were not the only ones too. Benedikt Haudes and Alexander Baumjochen were also academy graduates receiving regular first team minutes that season, part of a youthful spine spearheading Schalke into the UEFA Champions League. The club were able to do big things in the summer of 2010 too. They brought in an 18-year-old Christos Papadopoulos, a promising defender, to partner Matip in defence. They also had the money to buy Klaas-Jan Huntelaar from AC Milan for £12.6 million. This came in a £32 million spending spree, seeing Schalke manager Felix Magath have a bolstered squad for the Champions League that year. However, the first signs of the failure to come was when 22-year-old Rakitic joined Sevilla for just £2.25 million in the January transfer window. He was valued much closer to 10 million, but Schalke had failed to sell Rakitic earlier than now, and with his contract running out at the end of the season, they received a lower fee as a result. Nevertheless, the Schalke Youth Academy and system were able to take no notice of this. The academy is famous due to its forward-thinking reputation built up in the 2000s. Ralf Rangnick, the famous visionary behind the kingdom of Red Bull football, has even spent time in the club's setup. Schalke put an important emphasis on having great coaches. Even now, technical director Peter Nebel speaks about how important it is to make sure the clubs are on the same level as the ones at Ajax or Barcelona. The same motto is echoed on the club's website, speaking about the needs for an expert in every department. Each drill was timed to the millisecond. All work, even fitness work, is done on the ball. Unlike places like France, where historically players have been made to run laps around fields, at Schalke the emphasis has always been doing work on the ball, with the ball. As well as the club putting an emphasis on experts in every department, the facilities were top notch going into the 2010s. This meant the production line was not halting, and over the next 3 years, the Youth Academy of Schalke did its thing. Max Meyer joined up with the senior side in 2012, along with Sead Kolasinac. Meyer was a talented, technically gifted midfielder, and the academy director at the time, Oliver Lunert, spoke positively of Meyer. He said he had Schalke in his heart. He also proclaimed that every player in the academy was talented, acknowledged how crucial they were in the senior side staying on track in the league. This was true for both Meyer and Kolasinac in the following season for the 2013-14 Bundesliga campaign. The duo made over 24 appearances in the league each, acting as crucial cogs in the side. The same was true for Julien Draxler, a supremely talented attacker who had joined up with the senior side way back in 2011. Draxler, though, was really beginning to establish himself in the lead up to the 2014 World Cup. In the 13-14 season, he had made 26 appearances in the Bundesliga and 8 in the Champions League. He scored 5 goals and got 8 assists from midfield that season in both competitions, at the age of 21. Draxler was not just one of the hottest talents in Germany or in Schalke, but in all of Europe. He had joined the club when he was 8 years old, and was the youngest player to ever feature in the Bundesliga. This happened when he broke through at age 17. He had stated Schalke was a matter of heart. These guys were not the only starlets even still. Up until 2015, Leroy Sané, Thilo Kehrer and Leon Goretzka all made the jump from youth football at Schalke to the first team. Sané and Goretzka now play at Bayern Munich, and Kehrer and Draxler at PSG. All of these players need little explaining, and they are now titans of the game on the world stage. The question is, why are none of them still at Schalke? Schalke's downfall has come from specifically the mishandlement of these young footballers. Not in the same way as Chelsea, where the club were criticised for not giving their young players like Josh McEachlan and Bertrand Traore good minutes. Schalke instead failed to make the most of what they had. When Manuel Neuer left for Bayern Munich in 2011 for £27 million, it was the continuation of a dangerous trend that the Schalke had set with Rakitic. Neuer was, at the time, clearly one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He had just helped Schalke to 11 clean sheets across 34 Bundesliga games, yet he was sold for little more than his market value of around £25 to £27 million, despite being a crucial cog in the Schalke side. Schalke had undersold, just like they did with Rakitic. They repeated the same with many of their other superstars. Lewis Holtby, a very hyped and talented young midfielder, left in 2013 for Tottenham for less than £2 million, underselling by at least £8 million according to the figures from Transfermarkt. Felipe Santanta was sold for nothing in 2015, as well as Christian Fuchs, the left-back who would win the Premier League with Leicester the year he had been let go on a free by Schalke. Schalke'S Papadopoulos was undersold by at least £3 million to Bayer Leverkusen, a direct rival of Schalke. While Schalke did maximise the value for Leroy Sané and Julien Draxler, it was still not enough. Joel Matip left for Liverpool on a free. Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting left on a free, as did Sead Kolasinac and Klaas-Jan Huntelaar in 2017. By the time Schalke had finally managed to cut the underselling in 2018, where they got over £30 million for promising centre-back Thilo Kehrer for PSG, it was too late. They had either not estimated the value of their own players well enough, or they let them run down their contracts. This happened with Kolasinac, Matip, and their promising young goalkeeper Alexander Nubel in 2020, when he left for Bayern Munich on a free. This led Schalke to having to cut their transfer spending. At the beginning of the decade, Schalke were looking to be one of Europe's next biggest clubs, but it's all been downhill from there, and they only recently escaped relegation in 2018-19. The lack of positive fees for their best players, combined with some poor transfers like Yevgen Konoplyanka and Nabil Bentaleb, has downgraded the squad humongously. The academy, meanwhile, has since gone on a more quiet run. They were on a fantastic run of churning out superb players like Sané and Goretzka, but that has since dried up. And any promising talents that were there have looked at the on-the-field issues and jumped ship. This happened with Kaan Ayhan in 2016, a promising defensive player who left at age 17 for Fortuna Düsseldorf. It's always sad to see a side transform from promising talented team to mid-table mediocrity to even now relegation battlers. Yet Schalke are an example of what not to do with your club's best players. Their squad is now in a position where it is demotivated and fighting to stay in the Bundesliga. However, we at Continental Aspire Soccer can identify some players Schalke fans can pin some hopes on in the future, whatever happens this season. Matthew Hopper is a 19-year-old American striker who has actually appeared 8 times in the league this season. He only moved to Germany in 2019 after moving from a Barcelona subsidiary in Arizona, the USA. However, 5 goals in 500 minutes is a great return from the 6'3" 19-year-old striker. 21-year-old Kilian Ludwig is another promising player, this time a defender. Ludwig has made the most tackles per game in the Schalke squad this season. In a team which is dry of energy and motivation, Ludwig is providing some much needed intensity. Thank you very much for watching Continental Aspire Soccer. Do not forget to subscribe and check out some of our live webinars, interviews, videos and more.